Mitt Romney put himself in a bad position with his taxes. It's not that he broke the law necessarily. It's not that he should be indicted for being rich. It's not that people should or shouldn't be envious of his wealth. Of course, everybody's envious of wealth, but what he fails to realize is people are envious of the breaks he got by being wealthy. People are envious of the fact that he could take over companies, pay a 15% tax rate, and the people that worked at those companies were paying more in their tax percentage than he was for owning the company, turning it over, and seeing it go bankrupt and still walk away with money. Mitt Romney is a modern-day robber baron who is using the legal systems of the tax code in order to make money. So, as Rick Perry called him, a vulture capitalist, this is exactly right. I don't know that Mitt Romney has broken a law. But I do know that he's having a really hard time articulating why he hasn't. He's having a really hard time telling the people about his taxes. It seems so simple. His father, they brought up last night, was the person who started as a national candidate to release tax forms. And he released, like the prior 12 or 24 years, a crazy number of tax forms. And Mitt Romney, until last night, had said maybe he will release his tax forms. Then he said he definitely will in April. Last night he said he'd probably release some other years, but he didn't say how many other years. Something is being hidden. And whether or not that is true and whether or not it's bad, it is unbecoming a presidential candidate not to release them when asked. It's also probably unbecoming a presidential candidate once we see what's in those tax forms. We can conjecture as much as we want about, tithing vast amounts to the Mormon church, and that may hurt him nationally as well. That may hurt him with Christian voters in the South. We can conjecture about putting money in the Cayman Islands. Perfectly legal to do. Shell corporations in the Cayman Islands, they happen in Bermuda. It's a way of protecting your clients from foreign taxes. It's a tax haven. Unbecoming. People with just a little bit of money don't have access to those kind of breaks. He has access to funds because those funds allow him to participate, because you have to meet a minimum to get into those funds. The way he has these leveraged buyouts of companies and the money he has made off of them, probably unbecoming a national candidate. But he's dropping the ball on this issue. He should be prepared for this question. He should have a better answer. The National Review calls it critical. The National Review, a very conservative magazine in America, says it is critical that Romney releases tax records now. I'm joining the band of, this is Rebecca Lieber on National Review, I'm joining the band of conservatives asking Mitt Romney to release his tax returns. This is the editorial board. Doing so is critical, the conservative magazine writes, so voters can take a look and decide if we've got a flawed candidate now rather than in September. The editorial asked Romney to release his 2010 returns if the current year is not available. So far, Romney has only indicated that he will release others. Their point is true. If you are running for president and you hide something until you're the nominee, and that something becomes devastating, do you know how angry the rest of your party will be at you for hiding that? Do you know how unacceptable that would be to Republicans? Man, I hope if he's the nominee, he's hiding something that Obama's just going to pounce all over when he gets to it. I hope that Mitt Romney is going to just dig himself a deep hole with these taxes. And if Ron Paul is, my favorite lines, and we'll listen to this, let's listen to Ron Paul talk about his taxes. It was both funny and interesting because Ron Paul hasn't really asked so much about releasing the taxes. If he's an independent candidate, I'm sure he's going to harp on it till kingdom come. But let's listen to Ron Paul. This is clip 4.
We reached out to your campaign this week, and they said you would not release your tax returns. Why?
Well, I hadn't thought it through. I don't have an intention of doing it, but for a different reason. I'd probably be embarrassed to put my financial statement up against their income, and I don't want to be embarrassed because I don't have a greater income.
So far, that's definitely the best answer anyone's given when asked to release their taxes. Ron Paul saying that he doesn't have any income to hold up to the rest of the guys. That may be so. I don't know what Rick Santorum's worth, but Rick Santorum, when talking about his taxes, I thought was pretty funny. This is clip number 7.
Well, I do my own taxes, and they're on my computer, and I'm not home. So, and there's nobody at home right now. Until I get home, I won't get them. When I get home, you'll get my taxes. If Governor Romney's told what his tax rate is, mine's higher than that, I can assure you, but I can't tell you what it was. All I know is it was very painful writing a check last April. That's all I can tell you.
So Rick Santorum is the TurboTax candidate. They're sitting at home. He's doing his taxes on his computer at home. It was believable. It was a nice story. And part of a good narrative for Santorum last night. Reminded me a little of John Edwards when Hillary and Barack were debating, and people would come away after those debates and say, you know, Edwards sounded pretty good. That was all pre-implosion, obviously, because the sniping that went on between Hillary and Obama, Edwards seemed above it a lot of the time. Santorum seemed above some of the sniping last night and some of the ineptitude of Mitt Romney as a candidate. Here's Romney talking about his taxes. It's what we all wanted to hear. Here's Mitt Romney, number 5.
As has been done in the past, if I'm the nominee, I'll put these out at one time so we have one discussion of all of this. I obviously pay all full taxes. I'm honest in my dealings with people. People understand that. My taxes are carefully managed. And I pay a lot of taxes. I've been very successful. And when I have our taxes ready for this year, I'll release them.
Just release your goddamn taxes. I mean, just release them. You say, I pay all my taxes, obviously. It's not obvious if we can't see them. There's nothing obvious. Release your taxes. Just do it. You're a fool if you don't, because if you win this nomination and they're still asking you this question, you're going to have to be answering questions about what's in those. It's going to be a hell of a summer for you, Mitt Romney, if you don't release your taxes right now. Newt Gingrich agrees with me. Clip 6.
If there's anything in there that is going to help us lose the election, we should know it before the nomination. And if there's nothing in there, why not release it? I mean, it's a very simple model. But he's got to decide, it's his decision, and everybody's got to run their own campaign based on what they think is the reasonable risk.
Snidely and condescendingly and with all the charm of a troll, Newt Gingrich said the right thing.